This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, live with the evening wrestling news update. AEW Dynamite was down to a 0.28 rating this week. Sting has apparently said he is not ready to announce his retirement plan, but he has an idea for his retirement plan in place as far as who he wants to wrestle as he finishes out his career. And he doesn't see himself in singles matches. He sees himself continuing tag team matches with Darby Allin. Ric Flair, I saw on his podcast that overall he liked his documentary, which, by the way, it's not available in Canada, and nobody's sent me the link. Hello to Victoria, Texas, by the way. Yeah, so if anyone has the link to anywhere it's posted, please put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. But he said, as far as his documentary, he said the deal for him to go back to WCW from WWE in the early 90s was done through Bill Watts, not Eric Bischoff, and that he was making less than half of what Hall and Nash were making in WCW during those NWO years. He said it was closer to a quarter of what Hall and Nash were making. And he says that if those guys were so important to WCW, why did Vince McMahon insist that it be him and Sting closing out the show on the final Nitro? He also says that he was vital in getting Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Piper into WCW for Eric Bischoff. And even if Bischoff would have been able to get Hogan, Flair was the one that put Hogan over multiple times on pay-per-view once Hogan came to WCW. And he says, who else would have done that with the legacy that Flair had? Because he mentioned that Sting and Hogan were both baby faces, and Hogan trusted Flair, and they had a history of working well together. So he feels that overall Bischoff didn't treat him well in WCW. Also, as I reported earlier, apparently Dragon Lee, who recently pinned an AEW guy and is currently one of the AAA champions, was signed by NXT. I guess he's going to be working for NXT. I'd never heard of him before. Supposedly he's related to this Roosh guy from AEW. But yeah, someone commented that he's another 5'7" flippity guy. So yeah, I don't think he's going to make a big difference. Am I going to the Raw in Ottawa? If somebody sends me tickets, I'll go and do a review on it. Sure. I suppose I could also ask some of my friends, but it really depends on what I'm doing that night. I can't even remember the last wrestling event I've been to. It was the when I was working security at a SmackDown in Ottawa back around 2015, perhaps. Chris, do I think AEW will be done? Well, Tony Khan's father is a billionaire. He's worth 14 billion, and as Tony Khan said, this is his project. He's funding it, so it's not going to be done. This is like his little toy. I mean, they already have too many guys on their roster than they can even show on TV, but they keep signing more guys. And I noticed I posted that clip of Sandman talking about his WCW contract, and people were saying WCW was dumb to hire him. Sandman was over at that time. AEW is going around signing people that aren't even over, then sitting them at home. Like, WCW were better businessmen overall than AEW. But yeah, I don't know. I wish them the best. I'm glad they're around. But how many people on that roster are over? Really, not many. But yeah, obviously, if they don't get renewed which I think their current deal is at least till the end of 2023 and could be picked up through 2024. I'm sure they could go on a smaller station. Look at Impact. They've just gone on smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller stations. And I believe maybe once this past year, they didn't even get a 0.01 rating. But they're owned by a TV company, the same one that owns Access TV. So it's programming for them. But they're definitely practically all obsolete now. DRS Canada, Yo H, love your videos. I appreciate it. Wish everybody a great night. And I'll check in with you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Twitter at